परमहंस परिवाराचार्य श्री श्रीमद His Divine Grace श्री भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवाराचार्य श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर प्रभुपाद की जय, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Canto 3, chapter number 2, text number 24. Manye Suran Bhagavatam Strayadise. Manye Suran Bhagavatam Strayadise. samrambha marga bhinivista chitan. Samrambha marga bhinivista chitan. Ye samyuge achakshata tarksha putram. Ye samyuge chakshata tarksha putram. Amse suna bhayudam apatantam. Amse sunabhayudam apatantam. Manye suran bhagavatam striyadishe. Samrambha marga bhinivista chitan. Ye samyuge chakshata tarksha putram. Amse sunabhayudam apatantam. Anyone else would like to chant? Please repeat word for word. Manye, I think. Asuran, the demons. Bhagavatan, great devotees. Triyadishe, unto the Lord of the trees. Samrambha, enmity. Marga, by the way of. Abhinivishta chitan, absorbed in thought. Ye, those. Samyuge, in the fight. Achakshata, could see. Tarkshaputram, Garuda, the carrier of the Lord. Amse, on the shoulder. Sunabha, the wheel. Ayudham, one who carries the weapon. Aptantam, coming forward. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. I consider the demons who are inimical toward the Lord to be more than the devotees, because while fighting with the Lord, absorbed in thoughts of enmity, they are able to see the Lord carried on the shoulder of Garuda, the son of Tarksha, Kashyapa, and carrying the wheel weapon in his mind. Purport. The asuras who fought against the Lord face to face got salvation due to their being killed by the Lord. This salvation of the demons is not due to their being devotees of the Lord. It is because of the Lord's causeless mercy. Anyone who is slightly in touch with the Lord somehow or other is greatly benefited even to the point of salvation due to the excellence of the Lord. He is so kind that he awards salvation even to his enemies because they come into contact with him and are indirectly absorbed in him by their inimical thoughts. Actually, the demons can never be equal to the pure devotees, but Uddhava was thinking in that way because of his feelings of separation. He was thinking that at the last stage of his life, he might not be able to see the Lord face to face, as did the demons. The fact is that the devotees who are always engaged in the devotional service of the Lord in transcendental love are rewarded many hundreds and thousands of times more than the demons by being elevated to the spiritual planets, where they remain with the Lord in eternal blissful existence. The demons and impersonalists are awarded the facility of merging in the Brahma Jyoti effulgence of the Lord, whereas the devotees are admitted into the spiritual planets. For comparison, one can just imagine the difference between floating in space and residing in one of the planets in the sky. The pleasure of the living entities on the planets is greater than that of those who have no body and who merge with the molecules of the sun's rays. The impersonalists, therefore, are not more favored than the enemies of the Lord. Rather, they are both on the same level of spiritual salvation. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we know the very famous verse from Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Krishna says himself that to annihilate the demons and deliver the pious, he appears millennium after millennium, and to reestablish the principles of religion. I myself appear millennium after millennium. So this is like one of the pillar verses of Bhagavad Gita. Almost everyone knows that verse. If you go to India and ask any random person who knows Bhagavad Gita or never even opened the book Bhagavad Gita, he would still somehow know this verse and the one before that one. Because they usually, in India, this verse is like very popularized by the famous TV shows, So, but do they understand the essence and what's behind the knowledge of this verse? We can easily say that we hear Krishna appears to destroy the demons and deliver the pious. I mean, we do see that in Krishna Leela, most of the places. Like, for example, there's so many demons and Krishna does come to appear in different yugas to deliver, So if one may wonder, one may question that, okay, so Krishna, I understand how Krishna is coming in previous yugas, to deliver and to kill the demons. In 10th canto, there's like thousands of demons being destroyed by Krishna daily basis. So, and Krishna does kill the demons. But in Kali Yuga, one may question, we don't see Krishna coming in Kali Yuga and killing a demon, where everyone is almost a demon. If you go around outside, running around the streets, and you may see almost everyone has done activities that may be classified as a demoniac activity. Like, the 4 pillars of demoniac activities are illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating. Almost everyone out there is a meat eater. And almost everyone drinks alcohol and, do other things. So these things are demoniac activities. But Prabhupada explains in the same text in Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya Sadhunam, in the purport, Prabhupada is telling it right at the end. He said, Lord Chaitanya appears. He kills the demon inside the people. We may not physically kill that demonic, because demoniac nature, that's what Lord Chaitanya is destroying for a person by the process of delivering them and giving them the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. When we receive the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, automatically one get delivered, because that is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, is to give the transcendental vibration of the holy name, make people fall in love with the holy name and purify their heart and their consciousness. So we can tell them, someone who doesn't know, because this is the most confidential, people, when Lord Chaitanya's appearance is very confidential. That's why, because in India most of the people have not even heard of Lord Chaitanya. They know Krishna, they know Rama, they know Narsingha, they know other incarnations, they know Vamana, but they would hardly know Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya's mercy is very, very confidential. So someone who's looking for the mercy will get that mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Now we know that, what's the date today? 21st. In 8 days we have appearance of Lord Chaitanya. Mahaprabhu appears in Navadvip. So very, very special time for all the Vaishnavas and devotees, because he's the founder. He's the pillar. He's where everything started from. So for devotees, Lord Chaitanya is very special. So we should, we'll speak a little about Lord Chaitanya's pastime today, because that's what I've been recently reading. So we'll go there. So before we go to Lord Chaitanya's pastime, it's important to know in the next verse after the Paritranaya Sadhunam verse, Krishna also says that Janma karma chamay divyam evam yovati tatvata tyaktva deham punar janma neti mameti so Arjuna. What does that mean? It means that one who has understood the transcendental appearance and birth of me does not, upon leaving the body, takes birth in this material world again. So this is what we need to know, that understanding Krishna's Leela is good, but understanding Lord Chaitanya's mercy, Lord Chaitanya, is also very crucial. We can not just read Krishna book and not read Lord Chaitanya in Kali Yuga. That just will not help us anyway. So I was hearing Gurudev says that someone asked him a question that if we just distribute Chaitanya Charitamrita to people, would that be enough? And Gurudev said, it's no problem distributing Chaitanya Charitamrita, but would they understand the essence of Chaitanya Charitamrita? Because without reading the Bhagavatam, CC will be incomplete. And without reading CC, Bhagavatam is incomplete. So it goes together, So one should always remember to take shelter of both, all the holy books. Because Lord Chaitanya wants us to read Srimad Bhagavatam. And then other disciples and other acharyas in our tradition want us to read Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we should read all of them, So we hear this famous story that if you're drowning, you have to carry 3 books. You have to carry all the books. You carry all the books with you while you're going. But if you're struggling to swim through the ocean, you let Bhagavad Gita go, and hold on to Chaitanya Charitamrita and Srimad Bhagavatam. But if you're struggling even more to swim in this material ocean, let Bhagavatam go. But never let Chaitanya Charitamrita go, because that's how dear and special is Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, and when Lord Chaitanya appears, he's not forcing anyone. Well, he's telling you to take it and take it. He's constantly saying that, but he's not pressurizing you. I've been reading the stories, like when we read the story and pastime of Jagai Madai, there's always all the devotees, there's in Navadvip at that time when Lord Chaitanya appeared, there were many impersonalists, there were many people giving classes on Bhagavatam, but without understanding the essence and realizing the value of Bhagavatam. Like I was reading when Srivas Thakur, because he is a great acharya. Advaita Acharya also is a great acharya, and Srivas Thakur is a great acharya. And he would give classes on Bhagavatam. And, and there's these brahmanas who are giving classes on Bhagavatam without realizing the essence of Bhagavatam. And once Srivas Thakur goes and attends one of these classes, because he is a pure devotee and he's listening Bhagavatam, so he's going in ecstasy. But the other people don't know what is happening to this guy. They just think he's just causing disturbance, So what do? All the students of that Bhagavatam class, they're just distracted now, because they don't know what's the spiritual potency, the value of Bhagavatam. So they just lift Srivas Thakur in his ecstatic position and just put him outside the room, And they say, this guy is just causing disturbance in the class. We would probably do the same if someone comes here and shows transcendental symptoms. We'll just lift him up and throw it out of the class. But we know that's the whole point, that we can see what's a fake and what's a real transcendental symptoms, Because that's why we have read Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. If you start reading Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Charitamrita, you can tell at every one paragraph, someone's in ecstasy of having met Lord Chaitanya, or have some exchange with Lord Chaitanya, just put them in trance. So we can understand. That's why we try to read these books. We shouldn't imitate the transcendental symptoms. Like, for example, there is a story where so after going from Srivas Thakur's house, Lord Chaitanya is walking somewhere, and he saw Haridas Thakur, after doing his pastimes in somewhere, he's walking to Lord Chaitanya's place, or Lord Advaita Acharya's place. And in between he comes, and there is this performance going. People are acting, pastimes of Krishna. And he just stops, because he's pure devotee, When a pure devotee sees anything related to Krishna, he just wants to relish that nectar. And Haridas Thakur stops and looks, and he's just watching people perform Krishna Leela, Krishna Katha in a dramatical way, because in Chaitanya Leela we hear that there's many times Lord Chaitanya himself is acting, in Lord Nityananda performing pastimes of Krishna, and all these imitating pastimes of Krishna in a very nice way, not in a very poor way just to make money or something, just more like in a devotional way. So Haridas Thakur is observing this, and he's watching this, and he goes in transcendental ecstasy. And there's like this flute player. There's like this flute or some instrument. This guy is performing some instrument on the side, and he's looking that Haridas Thakur is going in ecstasy. So he stops playing his instrument, and he just let people, because everyone's just focused on Haridas Thakur now, and they are also feeling that ecstatic love for Krishna just by observing Haridas Thakur. And what do? So they all are just looking at Haridas Thakur now. He has become the center of attraction. And like this musical player who's playing his instrument for performing for some king or something, he just doesn't, he stops doing his job, because he's also observing Haridas Thakur in an ecstatic state, and he's also going in ecstasy. So after some time, when Haridas Thakur comes out of the trance, he resumes his journey and walks off. And then there was this Brahmana somewhere nearby who was watching this. He's saying, oh, this guy, people have just, left everything and they're focusing on him only, Maybe I can do that also. I can perform these ecstatic symptoms. I can display these ecstatic symptoms and people will worship me, So I should do that also. After Haridas Thakur left, he went to the same place where Haridas Thakur was standing. And he also started showing these ecstatic symptoms, hearing Krishna Katha. And now this musical player is just watching that. And everyone's watching this Brahmana now, because he's trying to get attention. But what did the devotees do? So this musical instrument player took his music instrument and started beating this Brahmana while he was trying to roll in ecstasy in the ground, And he's beating this musical player is beating that Brahmana with his musical instrument. And that Brahmana, after some time, after having beaten, he just wakes up and runs away because now it's getting too much. So then someone asked this musical player that, why did you hit this Brahmana? He was in transcendental ecstasy. And Brahmana's like, no, he wasn't in transcendental ecstasy, he was just imitating. What kind of person in transcendental ecstasy would run away? Nobody runs away. He was just causing disturbance from my performance. So I just hit him. He's causing disturbance. So people can tell. If Prabhupada says, if you want to be cheated, you will be cheated. If you don't want to be cheated, you'll find the most bona fide place. So this is a very beautiful pastime. And when we go back to Jagai Madai pastime, there's I was just reading, when we hear Jagai Madai pastime, we know that, Jagai Madai were two of the most fallen people at that time they can ever be. But they also had pious credit. That's why they got delivered. Because when Jagai Madai moved closer to the Ganges, where Lord Chaitanya was living, they were living close by. And they would hear at night, they would hear the kirtan, Lord Chaitanya performing his kirtan. And when Lord Chaitanya would walk down the road, he would see Jagai Madai, and then one day Jagai Madai told Lord Chaitanya, "Oh, you're a very wonderful singer. We really like your singing at night, and we also dance and jump in ecstasy." But Lord Chaitanya, because he has to show the symptoms, and he has to perform that he's Lord Chaitanya, so he can't, he's not talking to them. Because Jagai Madai are like two drunkards and fallen people. So Jagai Madai Lord Chaitanya doesn't want to associate with those two. So he just say Hare Krishna and just walks on, after taking that compliment. But Jagai Madai did glorify Lord Chaitanya. So they did get a little extra pious mercy that we can get from Lord Chaitanya just by glorifying, just by little saying. It doesn't matter what state they were in, they still glorified Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya doesn't forget that, Any little thing we do for Krishna with love, Krishna will never forget that. So they did glorify Lord Chaitanya. And that's why they were able to receive the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So that's a very beautiful point. And we know what happened after that when Jagai Madai, when Lord Nityananda, and from that pastime of Lord Nityananda, there's an amazing point that we can learn. That a person engaged in Sankirtan or in devotional service should not be terrified of taking risks. We often hear Prabhupada quote this beautiful line. It's one of my favorite lines to use while preaching. It's like for preaching people, If you ever go hunting, you should always you should look for a rhinoceros. Because, even if you miss the rhinoceros, people will say it wasn't possible anyway. But if you do get the rhinoceros, people will say, look what a wonderful activity he has done. Look what a wonderful thing he's done. So that's what, for preachers, they need to always, that's when Haridas Thakur and Nityananda Prabhu, they were going door to door, telling everyone to chant Hare Krishna. People wouldn't even chant Hare Krishna, but if someone would say Hare Krishna, they will just go in ecstasy. They will just lose all control, start dancing and jumping that, oh, this guy has said Hare Krishna, now he's going to be delivered. Because they know the potency of Lord Chaitanya. Just by saying Hare Krishna, they will get all the benefit. So, and then one day Lord Nityananda had this realization, Lord Chaitanya has come, he's the most merciful. He's Mahavadanyaya. So I should find these two most fallen people. He saw Jagai Madai, in their drunkard state somewhere, and Lord Nityananda speaking to all the neighbors and all the people living around. Who are these two? And everyone's just saying, these are the two worst people. They just cause so much disturbance. We can't even walk on the road freely because they'll attack us. They'll insult us, embarrass us. So even though they are sons of Brahmanas, Jagai Madai were two sons of Brahmanas. So Lord Nityananda is like, this is an opportunity. Because a devotee is always looking at an opportunity to preach and to get the best benefit, Like I remember there was this Prabhu in LA. He's like